Can you hear it? Welcome to Relay.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Relay Station. This is a two-man operation this week. It is me and the person below me. Hello, Shiver.
Hello, I am Shiver. I am the second man of the two-man operation.
Yay! Oh man.
Being called a man is the nicest thing anyone said about me all year. Thank you.
I'm sure I've called you a man before today.
Possibly, but not this year.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's usually some other adjective before the word man, or just a four-letter word instead.
I'm going to move on rather than asking which four-letter words those are.
It rhymes with bunt. Or shunt.
Oh man. So this week we had a bunch of interesting things. There's a new free fly offer. I think there's like half a dozen ships that you can free fly right now for 3.14. Let's take a look here. And there's all these fancy pages, many of which have been made by our friend Jake Bradley. And there's also some discounted starter packs currently available, as there often is around free fly time. Let's see if I can find out what the discounted price is. No, there's a bunch of instructions on how to get that far, and I don't really want to go through them all. Oh man, what about the?
That's fair.
But generally, it's $5 to $10 off for the starter pack, to get you into Star Citizen on the free fly. What are your thoughts on free flies, Shiver? Do you think that it's a great idea to get new people in? Do you think it's a silly idea, given the game's current state?
Yes to both. Really? Because it gives you full access, warts and all.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone is like, yeah, I can live with this for another 20 years, cool. But then if someone's going to come in and be like, this is absolutely terrible, how can they call this a finished game, blah, 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 then no. And there are most definitely people who come in thinking that this is a finished game and this is it.
I mean,
so
to be fair, in order to think it's a finished game when you get there, you have to ignore all the giant warning messages along the way.
How often do you read the terms and conditions?
I don't read the terms and conditions, but when you actually go through the free fly thing to get an account, it pops up the huge banner like, this is not a finished game. This is not a finished game.
Yeah, but then you can have like early access on Steam or elsewhere, and it's like, this is not a finished game either.
Yeah,
and you'll sit there and you can play it and you have fun. And it allows anyone to have a completely unfettered, honest experience of the game, which can work really well. And it can work really badly. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
They're not hiding anything.
I think it's a pretty generous offer. And the fact that it continues to happen, I think also lets people, without committing any money, occasionally check out the game to see what's happening.
Yeah.
Without having to, put up the dollars.
But it's always gonna lead to one of two results. Either someone's gonna be like, yeah, this is all right, I'll either buy in now or buy in later. or this is a great big steaming pile of Windows ME.
God, that operating system is terrible. My installation of Windows ME corrupted itself.
Did that make it run better or worse?
It killed it. It wouldn't run anymore.
Oh.
Yeah,
Hey, Griffin.
that's fun. Hey, Griffin. How's it going? Thanks for joining us. So, Shiver, do you want to jump into the show from the week, ISC?
Let us step in like gentlemen
Okay.
rather than jump.
All right. All right, everybody, careful now. We're going to step in very slowly. You ready? Click. Oh. On the too bad I couldn't slow down the animation on the fly to take like 46 seconds to get through the transition. So, this week was hospitals. And the hospitals are being built by the Turbulent team, which we heard on this Friday. Just celebrated their first anniversary actually working as a game development studio instead of a platform development studio on Star Citizen. Turbulent now has 37 people, which is pretty impressive considering they started with like a couple.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they have 37 people working on the game. Their primary focus is environments. So they have a lot of environment artists, just a couple producers, and they're building stuff like this, like all the hospitals, which actually look really great. I think they're doing an excellent job.
A hot take on this.
Ooh.
I don't think they're doing the game justice with this, because you look at this and you're like, yeah, it looks all right. And then when you're actually in the game, it looks a hell of a lot better. Everything looks a hell of a lot better in game. I don't know what happened here. It just something about the way that they presented the game in this video this week that was just like, it looks a bit off compared to how it actually does when you're in the game.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I thought. Yeah.
That's strange. The one that actually I think looked good in the video, but I see what you're saying for sure. It almost seems a little overexposed in the video. But the one shot in the video that does look quite good and creepy as hell is the Grimhex Hospital, where the examination room has blood all over the floor and there's like latex gloves laying on beside the bed on the floor. Like,
bet you would be something to do with YouTube's compression or something like that that's made it a bit funky. I bet you that's what it was.
Very possibly. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it looks lovely, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Everything else aside, you can't see any aliasing on any of these structures or in any of the sculpties.
On anything. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a wonderful, wonderful job. I can't imagine how long they must have taken to just do that.
Yeah,
but it is lovely.
Like,
and
the amazing thing about this is like this is their onboarding project, right? This is the first thing that they did was build the hospitals for that Turbulent did was build the hospitals, and they did. So they did the Grimhex Hospital, the New Babbage Hospital, the Orison Hospital, and then the clinics, which are going to go at all of the Lagrange stations. So you have interesting places to heal yourself. I love this Grimhex station.
It's great, isn't it? They've done such a great job of making something that looks. Let's go with low tech, place that you would not want to go to, still look absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, this exam room with the blood all over the floor and the latex gloves on the ground is just great.
Still better than the NHS.
Yeah.
You can get a bed in Grimhex.
That's fair.
Pinos
yeah.
Gaming.
One of the things the Star Citizen, and this is kind of amazing point of Star Citizen, given how big the world is. But their attention to detail in their environments is excellent. And yeah, given the fact that the world is ludicrously large, it's impressive that they were able to do to this level.
They've really got to put a lot of thought into it, because not only does it have to look cool, not only does it have to look high tech as well, but you have to easily be able to navigate it.
Oh, absolutely.
All
Yeah,
these
that
things
is
have got to be taken into account.
that is a huge thing. Like there are released games out there that are fine games, and they look okay, and yeah, that's fine, and they're good, except as a player, it's really difficult to get around, and it's hard to figure out where you are or where you need to go, and it's a small thing, and the game can otherwise be good, but it can really screw with your like desire to play if it's frustrating to try and navigate.
It's sometimes it's hard enough to find your way around a real life hospital.
Just
listen to the severity of the cough and moderate cough. That I'm about that ill and go to in that direction.
Moderate coughs here.
Yeah. People who limp this way up the stairs, and there's a sign at the top that says, "Well, you made it this far. You can't be that bad."
If you anyone bleeding from the head, go down this way. But in Star Citizen had a bit of that early on, mostly due to how incomplete the game was. But it's getting every patch now. It's getting better and better and better at that. Better scanning, better direction in the actual landing zones, and yeah, it's really coming along.
I mean, we're starting to see some of various departments' snowball effect.
Yep.
We're at this point now where they can now make a ship really quickly and easily, rather than take a year to make a single seater. We're at this stage where they can make a hospital in a few months now, rather than waiting years and years and years and years to get to this stage. So things are going to start, hopefully, getting into these positions where it's just like, okay, that's there. And because of the way that they've built the foundational tech as well, a lot of things they're going to just discover, well, because we did this 9 years ago, we can now just do our very first iteration of such and such, like the missiles.
Yep.
The way that missiles were just put in game because they spent years trying to get it so your bullets are physically rendered, and everyone else was like, well, that's a bit stupid. What's the point? Well, now your missiles are also physically rendered, and all they had to do was just put it in game and make sure the physics were okay. Bombs, knock-on effect from that, and so on and so on.
And then, they were trying to do bombs, and they're like, well, let's just disable the missiles and see how it goes. And, it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good for a starting point. And I'm sure they're going to get to a bomb mode pretty easily from where they're at, as opposed to, trying to recreate the whole thing from scratch. One of the things I also really noted is that the hospitals they created, one was a space station clinic, which can be used widely throughout the game. One was a lawless hospital, basically, for Grimhex. And then there were two sort of high-tech hospitals at New Babbage and Orison, but they are also different. So they have, right away, they have 4 archetypes for hospitals that they can utilize throughout the game, which is pretty cool.
And because of the way that things are made, structures and to an extent ships, to a different extent ships, with the modularity system, it becomes, well, we've got a small station, so we take out this block, but this bit here needs to be there so we can just lift. And you will have different looking hospitals. I mean, they could just have let's just say we've got 4 small low-tech hospitals, and throughout the entire verse, those are going to be the variations of them and so on there. Thanks, Noskavian. That could be how they do things. But then it really depends on how far they want to take that. Do they want to have hundreds of varieties of this small, low-tech hospital, and then there's each and every category has to have the same consideration? It comes down to how much time do they want to put into it, really, with the ease of modularity.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's I agree it's going to start to snowball for them, which is exactly what we're looking for. um it's taken a long time to get here, obviously, but we're seeing more and more signs of that snowball effect. We're starting to see, they showed it. We know that they've been working on the planets in Pyro, but now they've also shown us the planets in Nyx, and so everything is starting to go faster and faster and faster. And they also have
Personal theory.
Go ahead.
Well, personal theory. Do you remember years, and I mean years ago, possibly Wingman's Hangar days, they still had Mr. Skelton on staff, and he was showing off one of the early concepts, early made, possibly grey box version of some of the stuff on Terra.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to be working on that in the background as well.
Oh yeah.
It's not just, what we've just been shown isn't just what is being worked on necessarily. It's also, this is what we feel is in a state we can show you.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot more going on. And sorry, Niskivan, I missed your comment earlier, but yes, definitely the Grimhex Hospital reminds me of a back alley Ripper Doc from Cyberpunk. Very strongly. I think they probably got some inspiration there. So another thing I wanted to touch on is that as they get to the snowball stage where things become easier and easier, they have more assets, they can build things faster, they have more shaders, they have more textures that they can just easily use instead of having to build. They have like 800 employees. So once things actually get to that snowball stage, you can probably make things very quickly. You have the manpower, like you have all the people and the talent and the time
And the experience.
and the experience to make a lot of things quickly. So that's pretty cool, and it shows that we're getting all of, we're having, planets being built and environments being built at the same time as new facilities and new landing zones and new space stations and new ships, and they're also working on Squadron. It's like,
yeah. I mean, with Squadron, they want, it's a hell of a long wait for a single player game for Squadron. Yes, that's fair. But then once the first one's out, they want to try and get the chapters out as quickly as possible. So it's not going to be 20 years between chapter 1 and chapter 2. They really want to keep putting those out. And there are going to be people who only want the single player experience, which is absolutely fine and fair. And I think it's Squadron 42 is going to be 3 chapters in total. Yep.
And then they were talking about making other single player games after they're done Squadron.
Yeah. And because there are going to be people who just want the single player experience, and they can cater to that the way that they've set everything up. Sure. And I think that's neat.
I also think that they can use that. I mean, there'll have to be some monetization in Star Citizen, but they can also use, presuming they do a good job on the single player games, they can use the profits from the single player games to continue making Star Citizen too. It's kind of a nice balance.
Yeah.
And
with staff numbers like that, I don't think it would be economically viable to just have it as, single player games is the only thing that really makes a profit. A buy to play MMO, between those two, I don't think that's going to keep 800 plus employee companies sustainable.
No, they're going to have some kind of monetization in Star Citizen. I don't think it's going to be a monthly fee, but I think it'll be kind of similar to how it is now. There'll be things that you can buy, but you can also just get them in the game. So it'll be a convenience type of thing.
They did say you'd be able to buy a certain amount of UEC per month. They want to limit that, which is a good idea. And it's going to have a bit of a kit bite let's go with bite into, the ever familiar gold sellers in MMOs.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I would imagine and hope literally just cosmetic items only. A paint job for your ship, which you can either get in game or not. But I mean, personally, I'd be okay if they literally just had cosmetic items that you could only buy in the shop because it's just a cosmetic item.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. But I'm sure there's also people.
But many people wouldn't be, and that's fair as well. That's just my. Don't attack me.
On the plus side of that, they are starting off in kind of an enviable position because they, as far as we're aware anyway, from filings they've had to do in the UK, it doesn't look like they have any debt to speak of, which makes sense given the amount of money they've raised over the years. So they're, whereas companies might have to borrow money to make games, Star Citizen is kind of doing the other thing where they are using the money they have to make the game. So it puts them in a pretty good spot as they're going forward. It gives them some flexibility to figure out the monetization model once Star Citizen comes out. But if they make a killing on the single player games, they're going to have a lot of flexibility for what they do going forward. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, you want to take a while for Squadron, that's cool with me, It needs to be really good when it comes out.
There's one thing which they've already pretty much kind of done, which I'm a bit, I don't know about that.
What's that?
Selling land for real money.
They didn't sell land. They sold land claims.
Yeah, okay, but in essence, they're basically saying to people, okay, you may own this much land in the game for real life money. And I can understand from their point of view, that's absolutely, that's a great seller. One of the biggest, most expensive things in Second Life, for instance, was land. People got really rich just buying and selling land in that game. And that is, it's not really a game, is it? It's a creative outlet.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit apprehensive about that in Star Citizen. And yes, I know how large the planets are. Yes, I know how many planets there are going to be, but I'm still quite apprehensive about that. That's still quite a large game changer.
I mean, you still have to be able to do something with it.
You do, but it's still.
But yeah, I guess if you have a land claim at the beginning and you actually have a way to make good on the claim, you could early on in the final game claim high quality pieces of land.
And I know that there's going to be many high quality pieces of land as well, and all this sort of thing, but. And it's going to take billions of people probably to ever actually be able to own loads of land where anyone's going to have a problem owning other land. But it's still, I'm a little apprehensive about it, and it is far too early days on that front to say which way that's going to go.
I thought it was interesting they did it when they did, because they didn't really have, we still don't have a great understanding of what that's going to look like in the end, how much land,
exactly.
What is your base going to be, how do you build a base, so on and so. I mean, I know you need a pioneer, so okay, do you so on and so forth. But honestly,
I would just be happy if they give me land, lots of land with starry skies above.
I'm sure you would. For me, the thing I liked about that was that because I want to do exploration, that whole thing, that idea that they came up with, open up a massive amount of gameplay for my profession. Exploration is going to be very valuable because you need to basically survey the land to find places that are actually good to own. And then you can sell that data back to people who are looking for places to build mining settlements and things like that.
And that in turn is going to create effectively old Western frontier style cities in a sci-fi environment as well, which is really cool.
And that's sort of the whole idea behind that, and I can totally see where they were coming from in there, because then you actually create like a whole bunch of gameplay from like, you can own land. Okay, well then what do you put on it? Okay, well you put buildings on it. Okay, how do you get them? You got to do it's all the raw materials, and you got people mining, you have people manufacturing things. It's like this huge thing that just happened from like, you can own land.
Yeah, and depending on how it goes as well, there's going to be a certain amount of balance that just comes naturally from that. Because at first, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, there's loads of money to make manufacturing silicon chips," and so silicon chips will become really, really popular, and then the market for silicon chips will just drop out, and then the next thing comes along, and then the next thing comes along. So it's almost like a fucking economy, Nakara.
That's basically what quantum is. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's gonna be really neat to see how that whole system works once it's up and running properly in the game. Anyway, we've been sitting on this hospitals video for a bit, so let's move on to the second video.
I'm sure people are getting sick of hospitals.
Oh God.
Sorry.
That was spectacular.
I needed to inject some humor.
5 cc's. I love these gold standard ships. They're everything that we've been wanting since the beginning of Star Citizen. All the bits and bobs are there. Oh, man.
I'm annoyed at myself because when I was watching the VOD, I got distracted and I only heard them say, "So the Retaliator was a problem." I'm like, "Tell me about my baby." And I had to miss it.
The Retaliator was a problem because it was much larger than the other gold standard ships they did. They so far have the Saber and the Gladius and the Retaliator at gold standard. But obviously the Retaliator is much larger than the Gladius or the Saber.
I mean, it makes me wonder as well, because when Tally was first spoken about, not the first, but one of the first things it was the test bed for modules, and you can't help but wonder, they've never said that's changed.
Well, no, and they showed off a bunch of the modules in here, and I can't wait to see what that kind of gameplay looks like. And yeah, got bigger.
God, I love that ship.
She's very nice. She's very nice. The thing that blows, that shouldn't blow my mind at this point, but the thing that I really love about all of these gold standard ships is them showing off where all the components are hidden away, and I get into like imagining myself floating around in space trying to rip out my shield module and fix it while I'm getting shot at.
When I was a kid, centuries ago,
Centuries.
when
wow.
when toys were made of partial plastic and partial metal, not just plastic. That's only a slight lie. There was this thing called Starcom, I believe, and the toys for that were basically the Star Citizen ships. You know, they had all these weird, intricate moving parts on a motor that, you know, obviously it burned out, died very quickly. But that was really cool, and that's what came to my mind when I saw all these.
That's
it's
really
just like a Starcom ship toy. It's awesome.
That's so cool.
So now I get to play Starcom again.
I remember the metal Tonka trucks, and they were awesome.
Yes.
And then the new ones are all plastic, and it was. Although I think they have some aluminum ones again now, because people were like, plastic Tonka trucks are just bullshit.
Do you remember Meccano?
Yes, vaguely. Yeah.
good shit.
Yeah. I was really surprised you didn't call something out in the video, so I'm waiting to see if you get it on the second time around. Not for the saber, it's for the retaliator. Here we go. Back into the tally.
I'm watching.
You're watching? Watch very
watching.
closely.
Ground crew subliminal message. Just quickly comes in. Buy ships.
Oh, I love all the components against the wall at the back there. It's just, oh, man. So cool. I have a lot of respect to the people who make these ships. They are some of the best vehicles in any game, and almost all the components are either functional or designed to be functional, so they will be eventually. Really cool. These are all the different modules here, and look at this module, Shiver. Look at what's on the left-hand side there.
Coffee machine?
It was a coffee machine. The fresh brew coffee machine.
I mean, that just
Awesome.
makes Retaliator A+.
Yep. A++. Oh, man. We should ask people to ask questions because we don't have a lot of content this week, so... I wonder if David left the bot up.
He didn't.
What a jerk.
We're extending his contract another 100 years because of this.
Yep. I'll get the forms link just a moment.
I've got it.
Oh, you got it? Beautiful.
Aye.
I was over
Been
there all
pasted
clicking away.
in chat, I have linked it. Question form. People want to ask questions, and go ask question on link.
Please
I don't know why that required some Yorkshire accent. But...
Please do ask questions. We only have the 2 videos this week, and no David to keep us distracted for half the show. So
Do you have a question?
What's that?
On the Gladius there, it showed one of the components coming in and out, and it said, danger intake here. Is danger going to be an in-game item?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
You have to buy danger and then shove it into the ship there.
That's its fuel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Danger fuel.
And then, you can just say that you're flying dangerously. Even when you're parked.
Parked dangerously. Life on the edge.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. So the Friday video this week was introducing a bunch of the team members from the Turbulent team. Kind of unsurprisingly, a lot of the Turbulent game development team is coming from the other game development studios in Montreal. Montreal has a pretty decent game development center there with a lot of experienced studios. Ubisoft has a studio there. Eidos has a studio there, and so does Warner Brothers. So it was kind of cool. A lot of the people had already worked with each other at other companies, and we're coming back together to work for CIG.
Oh, Noskavian asked a question, but he can't use the form because he can't use Twitch at work.
Fair enough.
What are your guys' favorite Endeavor modules and why?
That's a great question, and because you're asking that, I'm going to go find the Endeavor modules. You need to vamp for me for a minute there, Shiver.
So I like the Space Telescope because there was this game I played called Portal 2 where the space module came out, and he was all, if you want to see me buy a space telescope. So now that I will be able to buy a space telescope, I will be able to see space module.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to just do a browser capture here and
Thank
show
you, Agent
the
1213.
let's
Nakara will
overlay.
do the wave for you at his nearest possible
Oh,
convenience.
absolutely. Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Agent 1213. Yeah, thank you for joining us. 4 months.
I wonder how the Retaliator dropship module is going to work. Is it going to be a literal drop the module as you're flying? Because, I mean, what? That could be really cool.
No, it could be. I just hadn't thought of it. But as soon as you said that, I realized what you meant, and I'm like, he just wants to drop all the people out of the freaking thing, and just like,
Yeah. You got that one guy who's going to be recreating the scene from Aliens, and then there's just this.
Oh man.
There you go,
I just had
sound
this-
effects guy. Hire me. I can make your sound effects for you.
I just had this visual of the entire module dropping out of the bottom of the Retaliator and then popping parachutes and like slowly drifting down, and then troops like flooding out of the doors as soon as it gets to the ground.
And if you put danger in the module, there's no parachute. It's just straight down.
Oh no! Look at what we've done. Window capture, add source, Chrome capture. Okay, why?
Danger intake. It's an in-game asset. Danger.
All right.
That's what the robot in Lost in Space runs on, is danger, and why he was always asking Will Robinson to give him more danger because he needed more fuel.
That makes sense.
Danger, Will Robinson. Logical.
That makes sense. Okay, so you can now see my browser page. We have all of the modules up here. This is the old. To give you an idea, this is the original unveiling of the Endeavor. So this is, September 25th, 2015. Sorry, September 29th, 2015. Jeez. And here we go. We have all the modularity going on. We have the biodomes, which are basically farms. The idea behind the biodomes was that you could grow foodstuffs in controlled conditions, and you could sometimes grow things that were extremely difficult to grow by giving them specific. They were talking about giving them specific wavelengths of light by parking by particular stars, which I thought was interesting. The telescope array, which is one of
Doug Dimmadome.
What was that?
I like the Doug Dimmadome.
I'm terrified to ask, but what's the Doug Dimmadome?
I believe it was I'm not sure which Nickelodeon cartoon, but I want to say Fairly Odd Parents. There was a character called Doug Dimmadome who owned the Doug Dimmadome.
Okay.
It's a Nickelodeon cartoon. Don't try and
Makes sense.
dissect the logic.
Next up, we have the one of my favorites, which is the telescope array, the gigantic telescope that deploys out of the top of the Endeavor. I'm really intrigued by this. I think the possibilities for gameplay are really broad, and I really want to see what they do with it.
What kind of, when you use the telescope, what kind of feedback do you think you'll get as a player? Do you think you'll get a picture-in-picture thing, or do you think you'll just get a series of readouts?
My guess is you're going to get a picture-in-picture thing. And probably data as well. But given their ability to... It should be possible, completely possible in Star Citizen, for them to show you another part of the solar system, or the star system.
Yeah.
So that should be entirely possible. And I think you will also get data about that area you're looking at if you know what I mean. Like I'm thinking you might be able to like scan a planet that's on the other side of the system and get like some, maybe not super accurate, but general idea of what minerals are present there, or what minerals are in greatest concentration there, or like the whether or not it's actually a hellscape.
Do you think it'll have espionage
Yes.
capabilities? Like you'll be able to see, yeah?
That's why I'm interested in what they're going to do with it, because I think they have that whole section too where you can spy on other orgs. You can spy on the UEE Navy if you're a pirate. You have a lot. I think there's a lot of potential gameplay there. Now, the Super Collider is a pretty cool one. It's basically used for tweaking and overclocking starship components. This includes being able to basically upgrade weapons, thrusters, and so on and so forth. And basically just getting as much out of components as possible.
What do you think would happen if you took 2 pieces of danger and put them in the Super Collider?
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
It's a good thing paper's going to be scarce in the future then.
Yeah, right?
It's the only thing that can defeat him.
He's so powerful in the future because all the paper's gone. Yeah. There's a bunch of multi-purpose pods. I like the general science pod. This one's for science.
General science pod.
General science. Yes. Service equipment and crew pod, the general research pod. And a fuel pod, which makes sense. That one makes a lot of sense. The Endeavor is very possibly going to be one of those things that people take into a new star system that they've discovered. Because it's almost like a space station. And having that fuel pod there would be huge for extending the life of your exploration mission. Can
smaller ships dock with it or on it or anything? Or have they just got to be in its general facility?
So, this is an interesting one. So there's a landing bay pod. Now, it's supposedly... See, I don't buy that it's going to stay like this because the Endeavor is a 6-year-old ship. 6-year-old ship. I think that it probably will be able to dock, although there was no docking collar or anything present on the initial concept. And I think the landing bay might get bigger. The landing bay was originally supposed to have room to support multiple Cutlass Reds. But I think they might make that a little more sizable.
I mean, multiple Cutlass Reds isn't small.
No, it's not small, but they still might want to make it a little bigger because, well, I think the entire ship is going to get much bigger. So, and then of course we have the medical bay. So there was one whole like variant of the Endeavor called the Hope medical ship. And it's basically a hospital. And it came with a set of modules. So this medical bay will be more of an actual hospital rather than compared to like a Cutlass Red, which is more of a ambulance. Same thing with the Apollo. But yeah. So I just wanted to refresh everybody on what the modules actually are. My favorite module on here, it probably is the... I'm having a hard time with this one, but I think my favorite one's the telescope array. Although I'm very intrigued by what you can do with a biodome. What do you think, Shiver? What are you most intrigued by in the Endeavor?
You might be surprised by this answer, but the biodome. biodome in the landing bay. I mean, I don't know why. I just
That makes
find the
sense.
biodome fascinating idea. Like, how big is this thing going to be? What are you going to grow in it? How's it going to grow?
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea that this farmer type person has an endeavor, and he's like, who are, welcome to my endeavor. Hello there. Let me take you to my farm.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think the biodomes are a really interesting idea. I also love that this was the first real indication, clear indication that there was going to be a farming type gameplay loop in Star Citizen. And of course, now that they have to do this for the Endeavor, they've already been like, well, we might as well do it for ground settlements as well, because we're gonna have to do it for the biodomes. Yeah, I think it's really cool.
It also implies that vegetation will be growing.
Yep.
And hopefully they'll extend that out to planetary systems as well. So forests, you can deforest an entire planet and make Eris cry, or you can grow an entire forest and make Eris smile.
Or you can do like the poor Vikings in Iceland, where they cut down a fair number of the trees and thought they would grow back like they always did in Norway, and then there was like an ice age, and all the trees died that were left, and they were like, oh, now that we have no trees in Iceland. So now, like 1,000 years later, we're planting millions of trees in Iceland, trying to have trees there again. Whoops. Oh,
we are
man.
really, really sorry. We cut down all your trees. We've taken Jurgen out back and given him a good thrashing.
So what I want to know is, folks from the chat, what do you want to use the Endeavor for? If you had an Endeavor, what would you want to use it for?
Ramming.
I think, what was that?
Ramming. Just
It's
shitload
big.
of thrusters on it. Create the heaviest modules you can get, and just aim that bad boy at a space station and see what happens.
I like Miami Bat's answer. Science shit.
If you're going to be sensible. Noskavian asks, what are your thoughts on the recent roadmap update with ammo types such as plasma, incendiary, ballistic, disruption ballistic?
I really like them. I didn't know if they were going to go this way for Star Citizen, but they're really opening up the door to a bunch of different ammo types that do widely different effects. Things like damage over time from fire, damage over time from two shields. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It gives them a lot of flexibility for creating a whole new classes of weapons, and it makes it easier. What am I trying to say here? It makes it more complex, the combat, so it's not as easy to min-max, right? You can't just go, oh well, this is the best laser, and this is the best ballistic weapon, and that's it, and that's the end of everything.
Do you think, though, that ballistic weapons having access to disruption ballistics devalues value of having lasers, though?
There's an easy way to get around that. Just make the rounds really expensive. And still, you are still limited in you get still a ballistic round. You only have a couple hundred of them or whatever. Laser weapon always has infinite shots, or at least until your power plant explodes at the back of your ship or something.
But then, as well, once you've annihilated the shields with your disruption ballistics, all you have to do is switch the ammo round to kick-ass armor rounds. Whereas lasers, you haven't got that option. Mm-hmm. They're pretty much, got the shields down, Now it's an hour's job to get through that armor.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That it's, I mean, there's still a job of balancing it so it doesn't make any of the weapon types obsolete. But I think you can do it through making like exotic ammo types more expensive, or have some kind of wear effect on the weapon. Like if you want to use disruption ballistics, they wear the weapon more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So you have to repair it more often.
True,
Or
true.
maybe it has a chance of yeah, this is great ammo type, disruption ballistic, but occasionally they blow up in the chamber. Um,
I mean, even if they're less effective than lasers at it, they've still got that advantage though of just being able to switch your ammo type over.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely an advantage that way. I'm actually curious.
But then I suppose they are more expensive.
Do you generally prefer in games like Star Citizen? Do you generally prefer ballistic or laser weapons, or a mix?
Lasers.
Yeah, I'm a laser person too.
Lasers. Yeah, because you're in a sci-fi game. I want my freaking laser beams on my freaking spaceship in my freaking sci-fi. Yeah, I want to be there like pew 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 pew.
Totally. I'm all about the
sound
laser
effects
weapons.
guys. Hire me. The most disappointing gun ever heard in a sci-fi game. Pew pew pew.
That's amazing. I love it.
Oh God.
Oh.
How to feel ashamed and proud of yourself at the same time.
All right. So, back to what I was talking about before Niskavian asked the question. So yeah, in the Friday show, they were introducing all the people from or not all of them, obviously not all 37, but a bunch of the people from the Turbulent Development Studio, and that was really nice to see. I'm glad to have another studio on board. I'm really glad it's in Canada. It allows me to legitimately have fantasies of working for them. It was even one of the guys. One of the guys there who was he'd been working as a game developer for 16 years, and he said that he started as a game tester on mobile games back when they had like the Motorola Razr games. Those like little 1-inch screens. Game testing on those. But he had said that he had tried to work for CIG before, but he didn't want to move to the States. So he had asked them if he could work remotely, and they were like, nope. And then, along comes Turbulent a few years later, and so now he's working for them and has gotten on the project. Very cool. I think he came from Eidos most recently, if I remember correctly. So that was pretty cool. Dun, 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 dun. So let's take a look at the roadmap.
Here's some music while you wait. Do 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 do.
That's right.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do. No, I can't use that. That's copyright.
I'm just gonna make sure this is showing up correctly in StreamYard. It sure is. Okay, cool. So, recently we had an update to the release view on. I guess not that recently. It was the 11th, so it's 10 days ago. But I don't think we went over this stuff last week on the show. Grimhex Clinic, Rest Stop, Space Station Clinics, Orison Hospital, New Babbage Hospital, all added. Orison V2 has been moved up to the next patch. It was originally in the 3.16 patch. Very excited for this. It'll be really cool to see Orison even more fleshed out. It's a great landing zone. They did a beautiful job making it. Doctor and nurse AI behaviors. Hopefully they don't have any on-call rooms. No? Damn it. I didn't get 'em.
Restraining myself from making my own very inappropriate doctor nurse jokes.
Shops and patrons, so adding vending behaviors to the coffee stand, pizza bar, and kiosks, and so on and so forth. Really cool stuff. They're updating the Broken Moon map in Arena Commander. Can't wait to jump back into that. I haven't played Arena Commander in years, frankly.
This will be the first bit of work we see from Firesprite.
Yeah, they're updating the Star Marine Arena Commander modes, and they are developing Theaters of War. Infiltrate and defend missions, so another whole new mission type. Physical and local inventory support, obviously massive thing for the game long term. Having all those inventories work properly, being able to manage your stuff, stuff is a big deal.
It'll really help. It'll really help you take stock of the situation. Okay, that's fair.
And to go along with that, we there's a new Mobiglass app called the Asset Manager, so that'll allow you to manage your stuff. Loot generation, which is, well, if they're gonna let you manage your stuff, you need to be able to have stuff, and you need to be able to take other people's stuff. Important. So yeah, having lootable containers throughout the world, obviously a huge thing for a game. Give people things to actually go and do. Having FPS radar and scanning. So FPS radar and scanning has been on the roadmap several times. I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see it here again, but although it is still a tentative option or item, I think that it will help that sort of awareness of where you are that we were talking about earlier is so important in games. Awareness of where you are and where you're going, and also huge for combat. Being able to see, the players around, like enemies around you that are making noise.
We have a question from the
good.
Great Noscavian.
Go
Whose
ahead.
glasses are working, so I can actually read the text. The Orion has been added to the roadmap. What changes, improvements to the mining gameplay do you think we will see in preparation for the Orion?
Where is it? I'm gonna get some on the progress tracker. Interesting. So where do they put it? Oh boy, next spring. Not shocked on that, I have to tell you.
I mean, that's next spring isn't all that far away. Fucking massive, intricate ship.
No. I mean, but to be clear, this is when they have the work scheduled. It won't be done in May. It will.
Right.
This is the progress tracker. It's not the release. The release view. So they have 7 weeks. They have 7 weeks of work scheduled in April and May of next year. So I just wanted to give people a clear idea of where that was at. Now, the actual question itself, what changes or improvements to the mining gameplay do you think we'll see in preparation for the Orion? I think that the Orion is going to have a vastly different mining gameplay from the current mining gameplay. The whole design of the ship is very different from the way that the Prospector mines. Or the Mole mines. The Mole and the Prospector mine by fracturing small rocks, and then basically breaking them up, and then like sucking the pieces into with like a tractor beam thing into the holding bays or the holding containers. The Orion mines by blowing apart asteroids and then grinding giant chunks of asteroid in its massive maw at the front. Very different gameplay. What I'm most interested about here is how close to the original design document they can get, because they have the full design for how that's supposed to work, but it was written years ago.
And they even had the minigame, didn't they, on the site?
Yep, for sure they did.
But I mean, do you think though, because the Orion is the top tier mining ship, do you think that means they have to have mining basically this is it? This is pretty much it. Only thing we're going to do now is balance, polish, etc., but that's mining basically done.
I think that they need to have it in, not necessarily in a we will never come back and look at this state, but a you can play this and you could play it in the final game and it would play fine state. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe
I mean, because they've got to balance it out as well, because that Orion can just eat entire asteroids very quickly, which is going to leave people who have only got a prospector in a certain creek without a paddle.
Oh, there's a lot of advantages to the Orion. It has its own issues too. It's enormous. It can't land. It takes a lot of crew. It has an onboard refinery, huge bonus, but you also have to crew the refinery. It will be a big target for pirates, but it also has significant defenses. So I think it's going to be very fascinating how it fits into the overarching like gameplay around mining and refining and piracy.
See,
I realized I didn't really
touch on my.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
No, go.
No. You slightly touched on what I was going to ask of if they are going to bring the Orion in and it is going to be mining and all sort of thing. What's going to stop people who are really bored from just going, fuck it, I'm going to blow it up?
In terms of what, like the person flying it's going to blow
in terms
up,
of how do you keep people amused enough to stop people from going, fuck it, I'm bored of like the same few missions or the same thing over and over. I'm just going to go and blow that Orion up because I got nothing else to do. I've done it all.
I mean, I don't think you can ever stop somebody from trying to blow up a ship. You just let's
say they put the Orion in.
Be kind of terrifying.
Oh, Miami Pat, have you been on the internet long? He says maturity.
Maturity.
I'm slightly tempted to do it, and but I mean, the point is, and if Eris were here, he'd get this if he, was willing to travel 20 minutes. But it's more the people who are interested in combat have only got X amount of stuff to do. The people who are mining and enjoy mining have got more to do in a sense, because mining is, it's not necessarily the same thing over and over again or whatever. They find the actual process of mining really enjoyable, and you find the process of combat really enjoyable. And then you see this huge Orion. What do you basically what they need to have more activities for people who are like that in game to stop basically as many people as they can from just going Orion kill.
I wouldn't really want to fight an Orion. That's scary. So first of all, I want to bring up a point. Mining lasers are deadly in Star Citizen. They do a lot of damage. First of all. Second of all, the Orion is defended. The problem for the Orion, though, is going to be that it doesn't turn very... I don't think it's going to turn... I don't know for sure. It's not finished, but my guess is that its big weakness will be that it won't turn well. And so it's it's going to rely on the turrets that are on board and probably your laser operator to defend you, but I don't think. I think that's going to be a very interesting question, but it's not going to be answered by like. I think it's going to be answered more by the way the gameplay unfolds. You have the potential in Orion to earn a lot of money, right? Similar to the Hully and like those types of ships, where yes, they're a huge time commitment. They take a lot of fuel. They take people to operate them, so on and so forth. But you can earn a lot of money too. And I think that what you're going to see is that people will utilize the ability in game to hire people, to hire other players to protect their Orion. I think that will happen. If you're going to go, you're going to, let's say this area that has super high quality minerals, and you're going to make a killing. As long as you can be defended long enough to actually mine the frickin' thing. It makes a lot of sense for you to go and hire, 2 or 3 people with Hornets to keep the pirates off your back while you do your stuff.
I'm calling it now. Weeks during the Orion release, there will be an influx of saying they were griefed while mining because they don't like being destroyed and don't understand that just sitting there in a massive bullseye painted ship is basically not, it's basically asking for trouble.
I mean, it's the same. You're gonna run into the same thing with the Hull E and the Hull C and the Hull D and.
Yeah, but at least then you can turn around and say, no, that's not griefing. They just stole your stuff. That's called piracy. Whereas mining, I don't, if you're just blowing up the Orion, it's not griefing, but it's not really piracy either because there's no profit in it. You
can take the stuff off of the Orion, but not.
Can you?
I mean, not all of it. Some of it. If you blow it up, you could steal the turret.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. I suppose we don't know what other systems will be in place by then. I mean, looting is coming up, so maybe that's just going to be there. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, Miami. That's one way. They're just being a dick to destroy for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair, but it's not griefing because they're not exploiting any mechanics.
No,
they're just,
that's fair.
I
don't know.
Not making it so you can't play. They're just giving you consequences for your stupidity.
Honestly, I think they just need to make the turrets on the Orion strong enough to be capable of actually warding off an attack. And if you're that bound and determined, you're going to take an Idris or some shit to go blow up the Orion, then fine. You can blow up the fucking Orion,
I mean, I would live for that. I live for the battles. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who's got an Orion,
man, you really wouldn't
is
want
going to be sat there going,
you really wouldn't
what I
want
signed up for.
You really wouldn't want the Orion to manage to get itself in the right position to eat your ship, though, either.
Fair.
There's gonna be some great video out there of some poor bastard in a Hornet getting just crunched by the mess, the maw at the front. Same as the Reclaimer, actually. Of course, David wrote a whole story about that, about grabbing a ship with the Orion's or the Reclaimer's claw.
Yeah.
Oh, look, crunch.
I like Noscavian's twist on my tail. Open a support ticket. I was trying to pirate an Orion. I stopped and told them to freeze and give me UEC, but they didn't give me UAC. They blew me up with a massive size 7 mining laser.
Totally. Yeah, people have already been showing that if you, the prospector actually can defend itself quite well as long as it's close enough. The mining laser does a lot of damage. Oh man. Yeah, it should be fun to see. I'm looking forward to it. The Orion is one of my favorite ships in Star Citizen. It is such a cool looking ship. It is a beast. And one of the first ships that, unless they change the design, was designed not to land ever. It's designed to operate in space only.
I mean, something like that, it wouldn't make real sense if it was able to land, because it is built just as a mobile factory. Everything.
Not that there are probably a lot of people on here who don't know what the Orion looks like, but just in case there's one person who doesn't or forgot, this is the Orion.
And it's always nice to look at.
Oh, for sure. If I can find it. Come on.
I also missed what Admiral Kusanagi said, by the way. All the mining ships are from different manufacturers. I'm assuming they will release competing ships in other segments, meaning RSI, who makes the Orion, will make a prospect level ship, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. One of the things I would like to see on the Orion, actually, that I'm not sure that it has, is a rear turret. Because it's a lot of unprotected space at the back if it doesn't have a rear turret.
I suppose as well, it's going to have pretty hefty armor chunks on it. If not amazing shields, would have to have something.
Oh yeah,
substantial
for sure.
For defense, just pure defense.
That's yeah, you would need to, because the just the pure fact that it probably will be quite difficult to get it moving significantly. You need to have some kind of static defense. But yeah, from the original concept, it doesn't have a rear turret. Which, oh no, it does have a rear turret. It's at the bottom. I didn't see it back there. Really.
Oh yeah.
It's at the bottom. Okay, that makes me feel better. Having those two turrets, as long as they're fairly effective, it should be at least able to defend itself. Plus,
just coming from at the top on the rear.
But there'll also be the guy who with the giant laser cutter, going like this, trying to get the ship as it flies out.
But will the power grid allow you to do such a thing?
Yeah,
How many systems will you need to shut off to fire the giant mining laser at the front? Will you be sat there barely any shields?
You take all your power off the engines and the refinery and stick it on the weapons. But this ship is just beautiful. It's so huge and industrial, and it animates really cool. There's this great great video that they did of the ore collection sections rotating. Just an excellent ship, and of course it has all of the drones too. So, very neat. You know what they should do? They should give the drones like little size 1 lasers on them, and they can just fly. Go harass some incoming pirate.
There's bound to be combat drones.
Oh, totally. Yeah, if they have maintenance drones and stuff, there's bound to be combat drones for sure. If only for target practice. Oh man, yeah. It's one of those ships that I've really been looking forward to getting in the game. I'm not surprised it's taken this long, even with mining being in the game now for quite a while, because it doesn't. The type of mining that it does is going to be so different from the type of mining that is currently in the game, unless they change it, of course. But I'm just going based on what they had told us, you know.
Based on the roadmap as of right now, will the Orion be the first top-tier ship to hit game?
No.
What will be the first?
Hull E. I think the Hull E
Right.
is the first one. Yeah. So that is. Let's take a look at the roadmap. The current hulls that are on release view, I think, are the hull. Am I right? The hull C, and the hull B. Oh, sorry, the hull A. Hull A is the first one. It looks like. But the hull C is the top end. So let's see, or the hull E is the top end. So let's see.
Yeah.
Where it's at. Looks like first quarter of next year. So yeah, it's about 6 months ahead, or no, it's about 3 months ahead. Sorry, of the Orion in work. So it'll probably come out before the Orion. And also, if you didn't know, the Hull E is going to also be gigantic. We had a lot of fun looking at that ship again recently in Bullship, which you can check out on our website. Relay.sc. Now that it works properly again. Anyway. But
would you call the 890 a top tier ship?
The 890? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like the top touring ship. I guess you could make an argument that it's the top touring ship. But there might be something more to come for. You gotta have. If it's the yacht, there's got to be a super yacht, right?
But I mean, when I said top tier ship, I mean mechanically reliant on mechanic top tier ship.
Yeah.
You don't need any mechanics other than flight for touring.
That's a good point. Well, actually, I mean, arguably, it's likely the Reclaimer is the top salvage ship. So it's been out.
Salvaging isn't in game.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but if salvaging comes out before the Hull E comes out, does that make the Reclaimer the top?
But then you could say the Starfarer as well. Which of us is being the most semantic?
Maybe they'll make a bigger refueling ship. Oh boy, we're diving down the rabbit hole now, folks, and we're only 9 minutes from the end of the show. It's problematic. But yeah, I could see where you'd argue the 890 jump, but it doesn't really. Yeah, we don't have a lot of game mechanics for the 890 right now. They will come in due time, but they're not there yet. But similarly, honestly, most of these ships we're talking about have little to no game mechanics currently in the game for them, other than flying around. The Reclaimer looks impressive.
It does. It most certainly does. And I mean, on the luxury, well, just on touring in general, I personally think they do need stuff. Because, yeah, okay, you can take a 3-hour tour and come back. That was the plan. But, okay, I'll look out the window for 3 hours. It's not necessarily a thrilling game experience for many people.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm curious where they're going with that.
I mean, even the pilot is going to be bored shitless because, like, let's say they make a mission. Okay, so you got to take your 890 out, take 50 NPCs on your ship, hope you don't get attacked, and just come tour around and come back. And after you've done that 20 times with your 890, you'll be like, God, I hope I'm going to get attacked just to feel something.
Just to feel something.
Just to feel something.
I mean, to an extent, but there's also people who just haul cargo for. That's what they want to do, you know.
True enough. But I mean, Miami says it's a job. It's supposed to be boring. It's a game, not a job. But you do have a fairly valid point as well. But my God, can you imagine someone like Eris? He's like, oh, I've been working 75 hours this week. I come home and all I want to do is play a game and enjoy myself, not have a job. It's a valid argument. It is a valid argument.
It's fair. I think I think it just depends on where you find your fun. Like, what is fun to you? Like, to me, I enjoy mining. I have a good time with it. I'm sure for
Yeah,
some people
yeah.
it would bore them, silly.
Did you just say bore them silly
Yes.
in the context of mining?
Yes.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Well done, sir.
But honestly, I think CIG they know their shit. I mean, I know they're slow to make
They do.
the gameplay loops, but when they make them, they're good. The mining gameplay loop is most of the time it's just you're trying to get the minerals out of the rock, but gotta say there's a lot of rapid heart rate moments when you accidentally overcharge a rock, and then you're like, "Holy shit! I better get out of here before it blows me up."
Yeah, but I mean, like Noscadian says, luxury VIP missions will be like cargo running, except your cargo complains and won't shut up. So,
Yeah.
Will the excitement danger level be from the fact that your VIP is a Karen or something?
Or maybe pirates will interdict you and try and kidnap your VIP.
Yeah,
Maybe the VIP is
just
worth a lot of money.
something.
That's right. Just to feel something. Oh man.
I tell you, I've been a luxury VIP pilot for 3 months now. I stand on nails just to feel something.
Oh my god. Oh no. Yeah, so 315 is looking like a pretty good patch. We got the healing stuff. We have bombs. We have the Redeemer at last being redeemed and coming out. The really terrifying gunship version of the fucking Starlifter. That thing is going to be terrifying. It's like the size of a city block.
Sorry, we're currently having a small earthquake, and I'm wondering if it's going to get bigger or just go.
Oh, that sounds fun. Fading away? Fading in?
I think it's going.
Oh, you live in such an interesting place.
We had one the other day at 5 o'clock in the fucking morning. It was just a really small, but it woke me the fuck up. Those are the annoying ones.
Yep.
It's just like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Come on. At least do something.
If you're gonna shake the house, shake the house. Come on.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to a 6. Come on. I want to feel something.
Tying it all together. Oh boy. Anyway, we should work on our wrapping up here. So Shiver, where can people find you if they want more of your punny goodness?
This week, Thursday. Yes, Thursday in your Western time zone. We're going live on twitch.tv/Table of Horrors with London by Gaslight, a V5 Vampire the Masquerade Victorian Age game. Thank God it's just going to be one game this week because writing 4 games in 2 weeks basically killed me.
Well, you did an excellent job in the Star Trek game. We had a lot of fun.
Good. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That
was a good one.
I'm going to make the announcement here because surprise announcement. We are expanding our BTM game, and we will be doing at some point two. We'll be doing 2 Vampire Masquerade Chronicles at the same time. One set Monday, Oxford, UK, with a new cast of people who we're currently bringing in, doing around, switching around, as well as London by Gaslight for the foreseeable future.
Cool.
Every 2 weeks, that'll be on a Saturday. I don't know how I'm doing this.
Very carefully.
But we do have genuinely very good players that I hope I do them justice on all our games, because it's one of those things you're like, oh God, these people are so good. I hope I've written well enough. Oh God.
I understand, but you do a great job on Star Trek. I can at least say so.
You turn my shit writing into gold. It's great. Thanks.
I guess that's one way to put it. Um. So, as for myself, we have the game show on Tuesdays. We haven't been able to do it super often recently. We would like to get back into that more often. I think there was one last week. I wasn't on it because I was sick, but I think there was one this week. But it's on Tuesday nights at the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's a fun show. We basically talk about every game that is not Star Citizen. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have one coming up this week, as I've heard tell that certain members of our organization have been playing many different games. There's a bunch of also anybody who hasn't, there are some great new games on Game Pass, like Humankind and The Ascent. So, consider it. If you were already going to buy Humankind anyway, Game Pass has it. So.
Pre-ordered Humankind. Yeah, sorry, I'm that guy. I pre-ordered Humankind, and I've been writing so much about the fucking chance to fucking play it.
I have Game Pass and I haven't installed it yet because my week has just been ludicrously busy. It's like, eventually I'll have time to game. I have some time off coming up here, so hopefully it happens for me.
I've heard really good things about it. Really good.
Yeah, from people I've heard who played it, they said it's great, which is excellent. I was hoping it would be really good. And apparently the Ascent runs a little crappy, but is absolutely gorgeous, kind of like Star Citizen. So, yeah. Anyway.
Would you say that Ascent is an upcoming game then?
No, because it's already out.
Oh.
Props for trying. But yes, you can also see us, of course, on this show again on Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I will be away for next week's show, but hopefully Shiver and David can steer it home. And if not, well, then we'll be back the following week.
Just be me here on my own, taking the piss.
I mean, I would kind of pay for that. Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
You wouldn't.
No.
No one would pay for that.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us. We had a great time. Always have a great time chatting Star Citizen with you lovely folks. I'm going to take one last check here for questions. It looks like there is nothing on the document. So thank you again, and hope you all have a great weekend. And,